Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I don't know where you're watching this session from tonight, or today, or this morning, or this afternoon. Welcome. Welcome to my session. My name is Ademola Adetuberu. I would be introducing myself to you in a short while. But before I do the introduction, I would like to uh, introduce the topic for today, which is duties of a personal assistant, protocol officer, and and security aide to a principal during travel. We're going to be paying attention at this particular um, topic today. Come with me as I introduce myself to you first, then we go straight into what we have today. Join me.
He's an innovative torchbearer, resourceful builder, fearless disruptor, and a global change maker. The founder and CEO of Kid Executive Protection, a leading protocol, close protection, and management consulting company. Is also an international diplomatic and business protocol consultant, a United Kingdom trained security specialist in hostile and environment close protection. As a practicing protocol and close protection officer with a vast experience in the industry, spanning a period of over 20 years, he has served top government officials, business multinational CEOs, international NGOs, global leaders, high value network individuals and firms, as well as global religious organizations in different senior management level capacities. Mr. Ademola's proficiency covers critical thinking, problem solving, teamwork, and collaborations, risk management, solid leadership, effective communication, public speaking, strong work ethics, and professionalism, amongst others. He is a certified security and private military contractor, specially trained in hostile environment close protection and licensed by SIA, Security Industry Authority in the UK, certified international business and diplomatic protocol consultant from the prestigious European School of Protocol, and also a facilitator of the European School of Protocol UK on dignitary protection, as well as certified management trainer, trained and accredited by the Center for Management Development (CMD), an elected fellow and certified management consultant (CMC) from the Institute of Management Consultants (IMC) Nigeria, Mr. Ademola Adetuberu. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Mr. Ademola Adetuberu.
Okay, welcome back. Welcome back to the topic for today. And the topic is duties of a personal assistant, duties of a protocol officer, and security aide to a principal during travel. Having said that, what are the duties? What are the duties of a personal assistant during travel? Now, I'm going to limit this particular class to security aspect, protocol and security aspect of the travel. So, of course, there are lots and lots of duties: initial planning, itinerary development, booking travel arrangements, documentation management, communication with travel providers, a lot more that are duties of a personal assistant. These are the duties, some of the duties of a personal assistant to a principal when traveling. But for the discourse of what we're looking at today, we're limiting it to security, to handling the security of the principal. So you, somebody is asking, oh, so does a personal assistant handle the security of the principal? Definitely, the personal assistant also has responsibilities when it comes to the travel of the principal, of course. And some of these is what I've mentioned earlier. Now, but I want to limit it, like I've said, to security. So one of the major things, the PA will do, a personal assistant will do, is to know the preferences of his principal or our principal and do the necessary arrangements, which includes if they are traveling by air, which includes booking of flights. If it's a private jet, it could be booking of um, a private jet, a PJ. It could be also if they are traveling by road, maybe they are going with their vehicles and all of that. Also, it also includes hotel accommodation, rentals of vehicles, transportation services. The PA just ensure that all bookings align with the principal's schedule and preferences. That is what the personal assistant will do, amongst so many other things, that the PA is responsible for. Like on the day of the travel, the PA is also responsible, for airport transfers, check-in procedures, luggage handling, and any other special request or arrangement that will ensure the principal's travel experience is smooth and hassle free. Now, having said that, what then are the duties of a protocol officer during travel? There are commonalities that brings the three together: the personal assistant, the protocol officer, and the security aide. Now, for the protocol officer, the travel arrangement, the protocol, of course, makes travel arrangement for them, booking of flights, if it's a commercial airline or if it's a private jet, booking of flight, accommodations, ground transportation, other logistical arrangements, ensuring that the travel arrangement align with the itinerary and it also meets with the specific needs and preferences of the principal. Another thing the protocol officer also have to do is to collaborate with security personnel and relevant authorities to ensure the safety and security of his or her principal. Now, it doesn't just stop there. This may involve assessing security risk, implementing security measures, and coordinating security arrangements as needed. So you can see the difference between what a personal assistant does and what a protocol officer does. Now, let's quickly look at what then are the duties of a security aide when the principal is traveling. Of course, this is more engaging for you. You are a security aide, so definitely we expect of you to have conducted a risk assessment, a thorough risk assessment of the travel destination, the itinerary to identify potential security threats, vulnerabilities, and risk to your principal, whether it's by air, by road, by sea. We also expect definitely you would have conducted you would have had your security planning, of course, collaborating also with relevant stakeholders, including security personnel, travel coordinators, you know, threats mitigation. You're implementing measures to mitigate security threats and risk, such as establishing secure transportation routes, secure accommodation, coordinating with local authorities for enhanced security measures, security escorts. Security escort, if you're going by road, for example, you are ensuring that all traveling party during all movements, including airport transfers, ground transportation, official engagement to provide a visible security presence and to deter potential threats. Not only that, your office also does not end there. Surveillance and monitoring is your work. We're looking at the duties of a security aide to a principal during travel. Surveillance and monitoring is not time for you to sleep whilst the journey is ongoing. You are conducting continuous surveillance and monitoring of the surrounding environment to identify any suspicious activities or potential security breaches. Now, this is where in the part of of the world that I live, in Africa, Nigeria, we don't have a couple of our security people doing this. During the travels, they are gisting, jesting, Some of them are sleeping when they are supposed to continue to conduct surveillance and monitoring of the surrounding environment. Why? You're trying to identify suspicious activities or potential security breaches. These are, what a security aid, what is expecting travel. Now, I haven't said that there are so much more. There's so much more. Then I would want to bring this down now to vehicles. Let's take for example the case study. Your principal is going by road. Is by road. So what do we expect of a security of a security detail of a security detail of a personal assistant and a protocol officer? We expect of you to conduct thorough background checks. Yes, as a personal assistant, you may say, why should I do that? Even if you are not the one doing that yourself, you will expect you to communicate with your security team. They ought to conduct what? A thorough background checks on drivers and the vehicle operators, more especially when the vehicle isn't yours. If the vehicle is not yours, even if the vehicle is yours, checking of the tire pressure. For example, are you as detailed as that to check the tire pressure? Are you as detailed as asking and equipped with safety features? It's not enough for the tires and everything to be for the vehicle to be sound for that travel, right? Does the vehicle have safety features on them? We also expect you, if the vehicles are considered armored vehicles, that they have safety features for high risk situations. For example, if you are going to hostile environment, we don't expect you to go with a vehicle that is not armored because of the high risk situation you're likely to find yourself in. Then, of course, you're supposed to implement security protocols for vehicle access and egress, including vehicle searches and inspections. You should have a tracking device on the vehicle, a tracking device on the vehicles. Why? So that should anything happen, your vehicle, you and your principal could be easily tracked. So these are some of the things we expect of you to do, when you are going on air by land. Now, what happens when you're going on air? When you're going on air, of course, that is more work to be done. We expect you to work closely with aviation professionals to ensure the aircraft safety and security. Now, when you are hiring a PJ, for example, now do you ask when last the private jet went for maintenance? Is the maintenance due or overdue or not due? You don't just hire and just pay. You should conduct a thorough background check also on that private jet. Don't forget, this life is just once. The moment is lost, it's gone. And they been there spare, you can play with the one you have. Then you can always ask for a backup. But when there is no spare, then it means you have to ensure that your principal's life and your life are safe. You should verify the credentials and the background of the flight crew members and ground staff. What did I say? Verify what? The credentials and the background of the flight crew members and ground staff. Imagine, for example, if the pilot has inhaled cocaine or whatever, you know, don't follow the regular safety procedure of the airline. That's what I'm trying to say. Don't follow, have your own safety, what's it called, safety checks that you do. And that's why, well, honestly, I know a couple of principals don't like to spend, but honestly, to get the very best of the people working with you, of your aides, it requires also, because all of this would definitely, it may require costs. You are also expected to conduct pre-flight inspections and security checks on the aircraft and baggage. Why should you do this? So that in case if anybody has planted an IED During your checks, your pre-flight inspection checks, it will be found out. It's so important for us to do this, conduct pre-flight inspections and security checks of the aircraft and the baggages and that's why for you as the personal assistant, for you as the protocol officer, for you as the security aide, you should ensure that your principal's bag and your bag does not get to third party. Even when they are loading the vehicle, the luggage in the vault, you should be there watching. You must be there watching. You don't just trust them and let them go and do that. No. At the point when the bags are off your side, anything could have gone wrong. Anything could have been planted in those bags. So you must ensure you conduct all of these checks. What else should you do when you're flying a private jet? You implement access control measures to restrict unauthorized individuals from boarding the aircraft. You also are to coordinate with airport authorities, air traffic controls to ensure smooth departure and arrival procedures. Now, well, all of this depends on how your VIPs are in levels as well. So it all depends on the level of your VIP. But if I were you, I would ensure I do all of this when I am traveling with my principal on a private jet. Lastly, you are supposed to also consider additional security measures, such as security personnel on board or security escorts during ground operations. It's so important, as a personal assistant, as a protocol officer, as a security aide, you conduct all of these checks when you're flying a private jet. Now, when you're traveling or on a yacht, what are the security measures you want to put in place? As a personal assistant, as a protocol officer, and as a security aide. You want to partner with the maritime security experts to access the security risk associated with that yacht travel. You also want to verify the credentials of the yacht crew and ensure they have undergone security training and they can respond to emergencies. You also want to conduct thorough security sweeps of the yacht before boarding to detect any threats or unauthorized items, if any. You also want to implement access control measures to prevent unauthorized individuals from boarding that yacht. You want to maintain communication with port authorities, coast guards agencies for real-time security updates. Lastly, you also want to consider deploying security personnel on board to provide close protection for your principal during the voyage. Now, having said that, may I quickly also list what we should do when checking in into a hotel? You also want to conduct security assessment of potential hotel accommodations to identify any security vulnerabilities. You want to choose your hotel with robust security measures in place. When I say robust, I mean robust security measures. You want to put them in place, such as 24/7 surveillance, access control, and security patrols if there are not any. You want to request additional security enhancement from the hotel management, such as securing dedicated floors or rooms for the protected individuals. Don't forget, it depends on the level of your VIP, of your principal. You will want to coordinate with hotel security personnel to establish security protocols for guest arrivals, departures, your principal arrival, departure, and movement within the hotel. It will also be in place for you to conduct what we have security sweeps of your hotel rooms before your principal finally checks in. Yeah. I always advise, always have your bug detector. Even as a personal assistant, you can have a bug detector. As a protocol officer, you should have a bug detector. As a security aide, you should have a bug detector. Sweep the room your principal will be staying in of bugs, listening devices, cameras. You want to conduct a sweep before your principal enters, into that room and does anything. Why? to ensure you are free from potential threats or surveillance devices. You must maintain communication with hotel management and security staff to address any security concerns or incidents promptly. When your principal is flying a helicopter, what are the security checks a personal assistant should put in place, a protocol officer should put in place, and a security aide should put in place? You want to ensure the helicopters are properly maintained and equipped with safety features and emergency equipment. The same way we have emergency equipment to, you know, what's it called, in a plane or in a jet, we also have the same for helicopters. So you want to ensure these helicopters are properly maintained. Get documentation. It's not enough. Any company will tell you, yes, we just went for servicing. Oh, they are properly maintained. Ask for documentation. Ask for documentation when you are engaging them before payments are made. Verify the credentials and background of the helicopter pilot and the ground crew members. It's important you do that. You want to also conduct a pre-flight inspections and security checks of the helicopter and the cargo before your principal boards. You also want to implement access control measures to restrict unauthorized individuals from boarding that helicopter. You also have to coordinate with aviation authorities and air traffic control to ensure compliance with airspace regulations and flight plans and weather as well. You also want to consider having additional security measures such as security personnel on board or security escorts during ground operations and flight. Now, having said all of those, I would like to add these two: the personal assistant, the protocol officer, the security aid. What you should also, I've spoken about all of these. Pay attention to listen to them. But key striking points for me here are profiling. Profile the company you are renting your helicopter from, your yacht, your vehicles. You want to conduct a thorough profiling of that company, of the particular jet they're going to use for you, helicopter they're going to use for you. You want to check for their reviews. Check for reviews of that company. What are their safety measures? Do they have up to date safety measures? Check for history, history of their accidents, history of accidents, and the rate at which they have accidents per year. You want to ask for their safety policies, not just the aviation industry safety policies. What are their own personal safety policies? It's so important. You ask all of these questions before putting your principal to board. Who are their clientele? You want to find out. In a country where, or in a state where you are not, and you are traveling to those states, to that particular state, you want to employ foot soldiers to help you verify any of these claims, any of the reports they are giving to you. It's important. Get a foot soldier, pay them $100, $200, $300 to verify all of these claims before making payment. Don't forget to check out for the maintenance details. You have to be detailed. And don't forget to conduct sweep before usage for to check for bugs, surveillance devices, IEDs, and all of that. You must stay in touch with current realities, as the result of yesterday may not be appropriate for today's operation. So you make sure you conduct all of these prior to when you're about to make your trip. The second thing that I would like you to also note very well is the moment you feel apprehensive about the decision your principal has taken and you are not comfortable with that decision, the next thing you want to do is to communicate again. Communicate again, go a step further, probably to reach out to their spouse. Yeah, and explain why you are not comfortable with that decision. You are not doubting your boss. Neither are you questioning his judgment, but communicate, why you think, that decision may not be the best of decision at that point in time. You want to go a step further, get their spouse, get their adult children involved. You want to get their confidence involved as well, in all of this. Should you not feel 100% comfortable, with that decision that has just been taken. Also, you be detailed. Detailing is so key in this work. Detailing, it's so important that we're so detailed. Ask all questions from these companies that you are hiring, all of these vehicles, yacht, helicopter, private jets. Ask probing questions before payments are made. Another thing you want to do is to know the names of the chauffeur that will be driving the vehicle, know the names of the pilots that will be flying the jets or the helicopter, know the names of the pilot that will be, the chauffeur for the yacht. You want to find out all of this information. Why is it important for you to ask? Should there be a switch upon you boarding? When you board, you call them by name, introducing yourself. And if they are not the one that was initially sent to you by the company, then you probe further before takeoff. Why was the pilot changed? You want to make inquiries. Don't just assume. Before we fly, please, you want to find out the names of the pilot, the chauffeur that will be serving you that particular day, taking you to your destination. You want to be sure that they are still the same person. They've not been switched. And if they have been switched, the company owes you the right to explain why they were switched. And you have every right at that point in time, to do your checks before flying. Also, professionalism. It's so important that you remain professional. You remain professional at the discharge of your duties as a personal assistant, as a protocol officer, and as a security aide. And while you're maintaining professionalism with all of these all of these people I've mentioned, ensure checks and balances are in place. Make sure there are layers of checks. Not just one person approve things. Make sure there are layers to which approvals are done. Encourage your principal and be a part of the structure and the system in their offices. And if they don't have any, that's why you're there to help them to build that. And it's so important, you pay attention to all of these that I've read out to us. It's so important you pay attention to this. All of this I've read out to you. Then, lastly, before I call this class a day, there are similarities as a protocol officer, as a personal assistant, and as a security aide during travel of your principal. Confidentiality is so important. Don't share information just with anybody. Whoever has no part that they are playing in that travel, you want to keep information, keep the jet you are flying, keep your time offline, and all of that. Before I go further, I just remembered you also want to keep checking as you're about to fly, check the weather. Yeah, it's so important. Weather changes. You want to check the weather. You want to check the weather. And while you're on board also, there are private jets that you have access, commercial airlines that you have access to data, even while you're airborne. All of this is not time as you as you progress in the journey, in the movement, right? While you're traveling on road, you want to keep updating your threat and risk assessment of the road you're applying to be sure that the road is free. of bandits, free of kidnappers, abductors on the road. So it's so important, that when we are doing all of this, traveling with our principal, it's so important that we pay attention to details. Pay attention to details. Don't be carried away with the trip. Rather, pay attention to details until you get to your final destination, right? You can't rest. That's the work of a personal assistant. That's the work of a protocol officer. That's the work of a security officer when traveling with your principal. I'm sure that this video today is going to bless every one of us. At least you're going to learn a couple of things that you have not been doing before that you should start doing when traveling with your principal. Send us a mail, info@thebarricadeprotection.com. Communicate with us, leave a comment, and check us on our website, check us on our Instagram pages, our social media pages, to know how you can also hook up with us and get to learn more and be part of our academy. We have a couple of trainings, couple of courses you can take to enhance your professionalism. Thank you for watching this session. See you next time.